Claiming, we kind of keep track of claims over time, and it's kind of been interesting how the claiming game has changed a lot. And Doug, maybe his business hasn't been affected because you're a big-time trainer, but number of claims has decreased significantly over the last 2 years, as you can imagine, with respect to how the economy's been. Literally, there's been more than a 50% decrease in number of claims, which I think in some ways allows trainers and owners to be more aggressive with horses that they may not want to be claimed because they know there's a less of opportunity. At the same time, I think there's less. I mean, we've had probably maybe 4 shakes here at the meet, which is crazily low. I would say about 10% of claims now are shakes. The other 90% are just individuals claiming a horse. There is always an uptick sort of at the end of Hollywood Park and the first couple weeks at Del Mar because perennially it seems like owners like to run horses at Del Mar, fun place to be, bigger purses, bigger fields, things like that. And so there's usually, and I'm sure Doug kind of experiences this as well, owners who want horses for Del Mar. So starting about now, you'll see claiming sort of start to increase a little bit.
Hi, this question is for Doug. I'm going to put you on the spot. You might not want to answer it. Are there any trainers that you will not claim from?
Anyone in my barn, and Nick Hines, when he was training, we were really good friends, and so if you're a good friend, but I don't have a lot of good friends. But that's a whole story that counseling will take care of. But usually the guys in your barn you won't claim off of, and like Pico Perdomo's in our barn. Oh, actually, you're right. Yeah, George Parabon I'd never claim off of. He's a great guy, and there are a few guys that I wouldn't claim off of, and probably George and Pico right now would be at the top of the list because it's a friendly, and if they're in the same barn with you, it's unethical. You see their horses walk around every day, so it's like stealing your neighbor's newspaper, which Mark does quite often, which I don't know. One of these days he's going to get busted. But it's just an ethical thing.
Many trainers out there will not claim off of other specific trainers, not because they're friends, but because they're worried about the shape in which the horse will be after the race. I mean, you might not want to say that, but...
there's certain trainers I wouldn't claim off of just because they're hard to move a horse up off of.
Doug? Are you going to have a string of horses at Monmouth?
Right now, actually, we have a string of horses at Philadelphia Park, and Monmouth is only about an hour and 15 minutes away, so we're hoping to run a few over there, but we won't actually be stable there. We'll just ship in. That'll be interesting to see how that works out, because I think it's something that we'll address here one day in California, where we'll just run 3 days a week for higher purses. I hope that would be, I think it's a good business model.
It kind of leads into a rule change I should probably mention for the time being with respect to claiming horses and shipping them out of state. It's actually, it's in the rule book. There's a provision where you can't race a horse out of the state of California within 60 days after the close of the meet at which it's claimed. That has been suspended for now for about a year or so. I think there were some objections, some constitutional objections with respect to interstate commerce clause. And so right now there are no restrictions with respect to claiming a horse and moving into other places. I'm not endorsing that by any stretch of the imagination, but if you're interested in claiming, that's you need another horse.
Does the same rule still apply for the 26 days?
I guess both have kind of been referred to as jail time, but jail time in the traditional sense is the 25 days, I guess the 26th day they become eligible to run with whatever price. But just the provision with respect to moving it out of state is the one that's been suspended. So the 25-day jail time with respect to increasing it 25% still exists.
Even across state lines?
That's a good question. It would really depend upon what the rules are on the other state.
So is jail time a California rule? Or?
Most other states have, almost every state I think has jail time. It might not be 25, it usually varies between 25 and 30 days. But I don't know of any other states, and I'm not an expert on other states' rules, that don't have jail time. It's just a way of actually kind of making the claiming game work. It would be difficult if you could just, and especially with these Monmouth and these other tracks that offer these crazy purses for low prices, it would create incentives to claim a horse for $30,000, run it for $5 because you're going to run for a big purse and you won't get hurt. So I think almost every state has some jail time, either between 25 and 30 days.
If you want to get a group of guys together, is there a limit how many people you can get together to claim a horse?
No, not at all. You can put in as many guys as you want. We had a group of about, now how many will be licensed as owners, I'm not sure, but we had our first group was 16 guys. And everyone put in $1,000. We claimed a $16,000 claimer, our first one, and we forgot about the tax. So we had to go back and call everybody, but it was so much fun. And I think 4 of the guys are still involved, but bringing them all out now, everyone wasn't licensed and there was a little quibble over the name, so we made a racing stable name, but it was so much fun.
If you own less than 10%, you're actually not required to be licensed anymore. I'm not crazy about that, but I didn't make the rule. But it's funny, when you first mentioned partnerships, I have to put my 2 cents in because I always see the fallout from partnerships that don't work out. I strongly recommend that you know your partners. Oftentimes I know trainers will just put guys together who don't know each other. There is a rule in the book that makes you responsible for financial problems with respect to your partners. So if they decide to stop paying, be it the shoer, their trainer, whoever, you're responsible for their bills. And I think with respect to just making decisions and that sort of thing, either put it in writing, who's going to make the decisions, who's going to manage and that, or know the guys that you can live with, because it's surprising how great things go in partnerships when the horse is winning and things are good, but when horses aren't winning or turned out the farm, that's when problems arise, and unfortunately we kind of see the fallout. So I say know your partners because it'll save you a lot of headaches down the road.
I'll just add that the TOC absolutely recommend, strongly suggest you have partnership agreements, signed documents.
That's great.
Have partnership agreements. You don't have to go through a lot of legal fees to get a partnership document put together. You can do it yourself. If 2 people sign it and date it, it's a legal contract and binding agreement. And that's really what Scott and the stewards need to help deal with some of those unfortunate issues that come up.
And ultimately make a more enjoyable experience for the owners.
You're going to have a lot more fun.
For a first-time owner, what price level would you suggest getting involved at?
I would really recommend a cheaper horse, $8,000, $10,000 claimer for a first-time owner. Oftentimes, the perception is that those are the least sound horses because that's why they're running there. I think given the scrutiny that horses are under these days, it's probably less so now. But for me, you learn a lot about it. It's really, the learning curve is very steep. And so you learn a lot about expenses and how to move horses around. And sort of your first experience, I would suggest doing something a little cheaper rather than jumping in with $50,000 and having that be your learning experience. That's just, because there's all sorts of hidden expenses that you might not know about. You don't know that a horse needs to be shot every month and it costs $150 for a horse to get shoes.
I think the key is establishing it as a business at first, understanding what you're going to do, going to Doug and saying, here's how much I want to spend, understanding if you're going to spend, let's say you want to claim something for 16, in your mind, talk to him about bills. Scott's right, you have to know your vet bills. So many guys want to claim a horse and they're like, I will take half that horse for 16, and they have $8,000 to play with. I'm like, all right, got it, you can take a quarter. And knowing exactly, and then really keeping your bookwork together. But Doug, his group he has an assistant who goes through that with you, and you really, before you do it, get versed in it. But I think you have to remember, it's so much fun. I've talked to so many people who do so many other things and have been very successful in their life, and they're still, managing their apartment building. That's not fun. I do that. It's really not fun. And this is fun. And I think in your mind, if you keep that I'm getting into this for fun, it's an absolute blast.